The Colorado Buffaloes were absolutely embarrassed against the Houston Cougars. Let's talk about it.
You are Locked On Buffs, your daily podcast on the Colorado Buffaloes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to a very somber episode of Locked On Buffs. It's brought to you by Mazda. Like our players, we sweat every deal, because when you make every move count, pulling off the unexpected is only the beginning. Stay tuned later for highlights in this week's Moving the Game Forward. Mazda, move and be moved. We're also brought to you by the Locked On Podcast Network. It's your team every day for free and available wherever you get your podcast. So thank you for making me your first listen, or in this case, your last listen of the day. For those of you still on the West Coast or wherever you are, I appreciate you guys. And maybe this is your first listen if you're on the East Coast. The Buffs got absolutely embarrassed. It was a disaster performance. They still have a quarterback problem. And the defense is probably one of the worst in college football through the first couple of weeks. And I'm going to talk about every single aspect of it. Let's start with the disaster class that was. What happened with the Buffs? So they head down to Houston. And I personally thought they could beat this Houston team. Houston did not look that impressive to me against Rice or Stephen F. Austin. That being said, Houston bullied Colorado. And we saw it against Georgia Tech. Colorado was unable to be physical enough to contend with the Yellow Jackets, or not contend, but to beat the Yellow Jackets. And they sort of ran into the same problem. And people may say, oh, how do you know they weren't physical enough? There's two great examples. For starters, when a team has the ball for 36 minutes and 45 seconds, that means you're not being physical enough to get them off the field. Speaking of not being able to get them off the field, the Houston Cougars were 7 of 18 on third down and 2 of 3 on fourth down. Once they got the ball, they never gave it up. And as for Colorado, this has been a problem throughout the years under Deion Sanders. And it's not something that's like a fireable offense, but his teams have this tendency. Slow starts, right? You start Ryan Staub, and I'll get to that in a little bit, but punt, 8 plays, 28 yards. Cool. Houston, 10 plays, 63 yards field goal. Colorado, 3 plays and out, punt. Houston, 5 plays and a tud. Colorado, 3 plays and a punt. Houston, 8 plays and a field goal. Colorado, 3 plays and a punt. Houston punted. Then Colorado scores a touchdown. And then Houston does this thing where they kick a field goal. Colorado scores a touchdown. It's 14-16. It's like, oh, there's some momentum, right? Colorado finally ramps it up. I don't know why the offense is so timid, so scared to be aggressive. I think part of it's Pat Shurmur's play calling. I think Pat Shurmur is calling plays off of Denny's menu. I'm not really sure where he's getting his ideas from. If I see another failed bubble route or bubble screen, or swing route, I'm probably going to pull my hair out, which I like my hair. I have a good head of hair. Everyone tells me I'm blessed with good genes, and I might pull it out because Pat Shurmur's play calling is abysmal. And then the cherry on top, the defense got absolutely bodied, right? They were bodied. This is a great point by Dennis in the chat. Houston lost 3 offensive linemen, possibly 4, and still this is how Houston started the third quarter, started the second half, and this is really a cojones on the table sort of drive for the Cougars. 17 plays, 57 yards, 8 minutes and 35 seconds. Colorado could not get them off the field, right? They had, let's see, how many third downs did they have? They had 1 third down. They had a 4th down. They had a 2nd third down, a 3rd third down, a 2nd 4th down, a 3rd third down, and then they kicked the field goal, right? Houston just ran the ball at will. They made, which I honestly, this one's on me. I knew Connor Wegman was somewhat of a versatile quarterback. I didn't think he would be the guy that'd be shaking defenders out of his shoes. I didn't think he'd be a guy that's burning the defense down the field. He finished the game 15-24 for 220 yards throwing, and then rushing. He had 17 carries for 83 yards and 2 touchdowns. I did not think Connor Wegman had that in his game. Dean Connors, the Houston running back, was just all over the place, just rushing all over Colorado. Too physical for them, pushed them around. They couldn't tackle. I can't wait to see tomorrow when PFF updates their count on missed tackles. Colorado had 13 missed tackles against Delaware. I imagine it's around that number, if not more, right? They were missing everything, right? And the effort level just didn't seem there. You look at the sideline after each of these possessions and it's dead, right? I think this is a Colorado team that's losing hope, and we're only 3 games into the season. Now, why are they losing hope? Well, I think when a team loses hope, it's from lack of confidence in the system that they're in. For starters on offense, Pat Shurmur, right? We talked about this all offseason, how Colorado has so many great weapons. They have Amarion Miller, Joseph Williams, Draylon Miller, Michael Welch, DeCaitlin Taylor, Sincere Brown, right? They don't know how to use them. You could have an offense where you have prime Calvin Johnson, Randy Moss, Justin Jefferson, Jerry Rice. But if you don't know how to utilize your star players, it doesn't matter, right? It does not matter. The offensive line, I think Ryan Staub was under a lot of pressure. I think this was the worst the offensive line has played this season. I just didn't love what I saw from them. He was under pressure a lot, holding onto the ball a lot. He was sacked 3 times. And yeah, this offense looks pathetic. I'm going to be quite frank. The offense, and it's funny because they talked about running the ball this year, right? Oh, we're going to run the ball more. We're going to do this. We're going to be a ground and pound team. Simeon Price, 5 carries for 51 yards, which all of that, one of them 38 of those yards came on run rush. And I thought he ran the ball really well. I think they should feed him more. That being said, DeCaitlin Taylor, 2 carries for 11 yards. So we're at 7 carries total. And then Michael Welch, 5 carries for -2 yards. So in total, you ran the ball with running backs 12 times. That's about on average as to what Colorado was doing last year. This was a one-dimensional Colorado team. It's like as soon as things get hard, Colorado just instantly goes, okay, we got to start throwing the ball around. We got to start slinging the rock. We got to start reverting to what we know won't work. And it's like, okay, you were running the ball effectively against this Houston defense. Houston's best defensive tackle, I don't remember if he came back into the game, but he went out and they found success running the ball. And then all of a sudden they went away from running the ball. Why? Instead, they kept trying to test Latrell McCutcheon, who's been in college. I think me and Latrell McCutcheon are the same age. I just turned 26 yesterday. Not that this matters. This is probably the happiest portion of the week for you maybe Colorado fans. I don't know if you care. It was my birthday yesterday. I turned 26. I'm an adult now. What that means for me, I'm officially a short king. I'm stuck at 5'6", 5'7". Disappointing. Kicked off the insurance, of course. Good thing my fiance has good insurance. Wink, wink. But it's one of those things where it's like, if you're Colorado and you're like Deion Sanders said he was dumbfounded. Thank you, Lamar. I appreciate that for the happy belated. Deion Sanders said he was dumbfounded by this performance. He said he doesn't know what he's going to do with the quarterback situation. And I just look at this team and I don't know what the identity is. And that's very scary to say because these were the conversations we were having 2 years ago when they went 4-8. Right now, if you ask me to predict this Colorado's win-loss record, they're looking like a 4-8, 5-17. Now, a lot of things can change. Right? They have Wyoming next week. That should be a win. BYU, I think, is probably a toss-up now. I think they look pretty good. Arizona and West Virginia probably could be wins. And then Kansas State, I don't think is nearly as good as we all expected. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Buffs. And you need to figure out your identity. You need to quit playing games with the quarterbacks, right? Because you know they're going to make a change, right? I know in my heart of hearts they're going to make a change. The play calling for Pat Shurmur was abysmal. Robert Livingston's bend, don't break defense is clearly bending and breaking too much, right? Colorado's defense is statistically terrible. I can't wait to see how many missed tackles. I said this already, but the missed tackles were just egregious. They couldn't get to the quarterback. It felt like their pass rush was always a step behind. And it looks like, and Houston did something that Delaware did, and I think a lot of teams are going to pick on them. The little shovel pass. Delaware did that, and Houston took advantage of it. The same thing. And yeah, I think Houston just literally they had their way with Colorado. I mean, Colorado put up no fight, and it was honestly really disappointing. Deion Sanders, when he was talking to the team after the game, he was like, I didn't think we'd lose. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I didn't think we'd come down here and get our butts whooped. And it's like, so were we just too overly confident? Like, what is the deal with this team? Is this the reality check that they needed? Because, and let me get positive here for a quick second, because I feel like I'm ranting about, not ranting, but I feel like I'm getting a little negative here. This could be a season defining game in one of two ways. The bad way is this starts the spiral where it's like, okay, we don't beat Wyoming by how much we should, or we lose to Wyoming, and we just start losing the rest of the year, or this could be like hey, this is the moment where we figured it out. But if I hear anything about a players only meeting, just know the season is screwed. That's just how it goes. It was a terrible performance by just about everyone. I don't think there was many bright spots. I will highlight the guys that I think did well. Tafik Byard led the team in tackles, and which, I mean, when you're a safety, that's never good. The guys that I thought did well, I mean, Simeon Price, I think 5 carries for 51 yards, did quite well. He could catch the ball. He had a catch for 11 yards. Ryan Staub in 2-minute drives is clearly an absolute monster, but other than that, he struggled. Defensively, oh gosh, I don't know. Keaton Wade was getting a lot of pressure. Alexander McPherson, I think, is going to be a stud. But other than that, this Colorado team is they have some soul searching to do. And I said this in my post game short. Sometimes when you go soul searching, you don't know what you're going to find. And I don't really know what this Colorado team is going to find, right? This is going to be a season that tests their culture, their mental stability, their mental strength, and it's just going to test everybody's buy-in. It's bad, right? So I don't really know what to make of it. You guys comment below. What do you feel like on a scale of 1 to 10? We'll do it this way. How concerned are you about Colorado moving forward? When we come back, I'm going to talk about how Deion Sanders completely mishandled the quarterback situation the entire year and why they need to go back to Kaidon Salter. But first, a quick break. This episode of Locked on Buffs, it's brought to you by Mazda. It's moving the game forward. For those who believe it's not just about playing the game, it's about redefining it. There are moments that there are moments that do more than put points on the board. They move crowds, they move culture, and they keep moving the game forward. This week's moment that moved the game forward, I mean, it wasn't a lot of positivity, but Ryan Staub's little shovel pass to Amarion Miller, I think that got Colorado back in the game. It kept them got them back in the game, and it kept them moving forward. That's when I thought, oh, they have a chance to fight back. Now, obviously, we all know what happened, but that was the moment where I was like, hey, they showed some fight. When you follow what moves you, the unexpected is only the beginning. And just like there's more to every highlight, there's more to a Mazda vehicle. Mazda, move and be moved. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in every single day, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure to like, subscribe, and follow so that way you don't miss out on a moment of the coverage. Let's talk quarterback. By the way, if you want to become a Locked on Buffs insider, you should. I'll put it in the caption below. Jordan Dominic, former Colorado player. We do a film breakdown. After every game, we did one for Delaware. We'll have an interesting one for this one. We'll talk quarterback. We'll talk defensive line. We'll talk play calling. We'll talk it all. It's really fun. First two weeks for free. We've gotten great reviews. You guys could ask us questions. You could text me one-on-one. It's really cool, and I think you guys should join it because, yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to chat with the guy, Kevin Borba here, the Borbs, if you will. Let's talk quarterback issues. I never thought Kaidon Salter should have been benched, right? Was I loving Kaidon Salter's performance against Georgia Tech? No, but Colorado was in that game. And I think what hurt Colorado that game, play calling, game management. And I think they pulled the trigger too quickly. I think Deion Sanders got a little rattled when it comes to like what he should do at quarterback, because people were mad at Kaidon. It's like, oh, we didn't win the game. And so automatically we have to do everything. We have to blow it all up. And so against Delaware, he pulls the 3 quarterback stunts. And honestly, you could have started, I don't know, Ben Finnesseth at quarterback, and that's no shot at Ben, but you could have started really anyone at quarterback for Colorado. They had a more talented roster than Delaware, so we weren't going to learn much. And Ryan Staub did play well. And I did say Ryan Staub should start because, and you're probably going to be like, you're contradicting yourself. I said, if you're going to pull a stunt like that where you play 3 quarterbacks, you obviously have to play the one that plays the best. And I said I felt bad for Kaidon Salter because he did everything he was asked for, led them to a touchdown and a field goal on his first 2 drives. And then when they put him back in, he was pressing the envelope because it's like, I know I'm going to lose my job, so I got to do something here. I got to make something happen. And he wasn't playing within himself. So it's just bad, right? The quarterback situation, I mean, Ryan Staub today, he was obviously overwhelmed. Deion Sanders himself said he didn't play well. 19 to 35 for 204 yards, a touchdown and 2 picks. Probably could have had a couple more picks. Held on to the ball too long, was sacked 3 times. I was hoping that Ryan Staub would be better. I don't think he was put in a good position to be better. But I mean, if you're Colorado, this is sort of the bed you made for yourself, right? You felt pressured, or you felt, I guess, the reason, or you felt the need to make a quarterback change after a close loss to a team who's probably going to be Clemson tomorrow. And all of a sudden it's like, okay, time to press the panic button. Like, I think Colorado prematurely pressed the panic button, and I don't think they needed to. But now, after this loss to Houston, I would probably press that panic button. Now would be the time to press it, because no one knows what's happening. No one knows what you're doing, right? Deion Sanders says he doesn't know what he's going to do with the quarterback situation, right? That's a sign of panic, right? He was so confident after the Delaware game. He said, and I quote, let me pull up the quote here, because it was such a damning quote, because it was like, how dare you guys question me? I know exactly what I'm going to do. This was the quote. I know exactly how I'm going to handle the quarterback situation. I'm not going to say it, but yeah, I'm not lost for direction. Well, you said you don't know what you're doing now, so you seem like you're lost for direction at quarterback. And I think you have no one to blame but yourself and Pat Shurmur, because Pat Shurmur, one, you hired Pat Shurmur, and I think he's had some good moments, but not really. I think Pat Shurmur was bailed out by Shedeur Sanders and those 4 NFL receivers a lot last year. And now it's like, okay, Pat Shurmur, cook. And Pat Shurmur can't cook, right? Pat Shurmur is the guy who he's trying to boil grease, or he's trying to boil oil. And what is that? What happens when you try to boil those things? Fire, right? Pat Shurmur, I feel like, is just so predictable. And when Colorado continually goes 3 and out, when they continually stray away from running the football, when that was supposed to be their identity, I don't really understand what is the goal of the offense? If you were to have a conversation with me, if you're Pat Shurmur, and you'd be like, you know what, this is our goal, what would the goal be? Because I don't get it. I'm not getting the vision, right? Deion Sanders, I don't think he's getting the vision either, right? Pat Shurmur is probably on the hot seat, as he should be. They have guys who call the plays. I don't know where Byron Leftwich is, but if he's even on the staff anymore, if he's even at these games or practices, where the hell he is, I don't know. But shine the bat signal. You need a play caller who could actually call plays, right? It's not Pat Shurmur. You're putting these quarterbacks in compromising situations. I think they need to go back to Caden Salter, and I think they just need to ride it out. I think you could go with Julian Lewis and just go for the trifecta of starting all 3 quarterbacks. But you run the risk of, and this is really the fun situation, because you got so trigger happy to bench Caden Salter the first time, and you went to Ryan Staub instead of Julian Lewis. Julian Lewis is probably pissed, right? Julian Lewis is probably like, hey, the agreement was Salter than me. Now you're going Salter then Staub, and I keep getting overlooked. So why would I stay here, right? That's exactly what could happen in a worst case scenario, right? You don't think other programs around the country are back channeling, going, hey, we noticed that you're not playing and they don't trust you, so maybe you should come over here, right? USC, I mean, they have a couple of 5 stars, but Auburn, right? Maybe Auburn goes, you know what, Deuce Knight, we don't really like him. Why don't you come over here? We kick the tires. Georgia, we could use a quarterback, right? Gunnar Stockton's out of town, right? Whatever it is. You switch to Salter, you stay consistent, and you call better plays, right? Salter is the most proven, the best quarterback they have, right? I think they moved off of him too quick. They got scared because he lost to a really good Georgia Tech team, when in reality, the defense couldn't stop a nosebleed. And I think Colorado has a lot of problems. And I probably would have put Caden Salter at problem number 12. And I think they moved him to number 1 and made him the fall guy. And now I'm sure Caden Salter, which they didn't show him a lot on the sidelines, but I'm sure he was probably like, I could have won this game, right? Because Georgia Tech is a better team than Houston, but Colorado absolutely got obliterated by the Houston Cougars. Why? Because they had no momentum. They had no cohesion. It was just all bad. So I don't really know what you do, but I'm telling you right now, whatever your next decision is, you stick with it. You can't keep flip-flopping. This isn't, we're hot and you're cold. We're not Katy Perrying this thing where it's like you're hot and you're cold, you're yes, then you're no, you're in, then you're out. You have to be in, right? If you want to ride with Ryan Staub, ride with Ryan Staub. If you want to ride with Caden Salter, ride with him. If you want to give Julian Lewis a chance, do it. But whatever you do, you cannot keep flip-flopping because you're creating a divide amongst the fan base, which, I mean, at the end of the day, that doesn't necessarily matter, but you're creating a divide in the locker room because guess what? The guys, their friends, they go, you know what? I think Caden Salter wins that game. Or they go, you know what? Why don't we play Juju, right? You're now allowing divisiveness in the locker room, and it's because your offensive coordinator doesn't know what he's doing. Like he's calling plays off the Cheesecake Factory menu, and realistically, the only two plays on there that aren't actual Cheesecake Factory items are bubble screens. And for whatever reason, Colorado cannot properly run a bubble screen, and I don't think it's their fault. I think it's more so coaching. I think everyone needs to step the hell up, and I think Colorado needs to make a quarterback decision. I'd go with Caden Salter, but again, I'm not paid millions of dollars to make these decisions. But whatever decision you make, ride with it, stick to it. Right? You can't keep switching it. It's just, it is what it is. I'm going to take a quick break. We're going to talk about how bad the defense is. But first, if you're in the comment section right now, Steve, I see you, Lamar, Seth, everybody, Nintendo Dad, I believe is how you said it. Hopefully I said that right. Comment below how concerned you are about Colorado's quarterback situation, 1 to 10. Let me know what you guys think. We're going to take a quick break. This episode of Locked on Buffs is brought to you by DripDrop. I'm going to need some DripDrop after tonight. I can tell you that. If you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether it's workouts, long days on campus, or staying focused through back-to-back classes, hydration is where it all starts. And that's where DripDrop comes in. DripDrop is doctor developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium electrolytes and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. Right now, DripDrop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to dripdrop.com and use promo code Locked On College. That's dripdrop.com, promo code Locked On College for 20% off your order. Stock up now before the heat hits hard. This episode of Locked on Buffs is also brought to you by our sponsors over at DoorDash. It's almost the weekend, right? For some of us it is, for some of us it's not. Time to look back and crown this week's MVP who delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you ordered. These players delivered when it mattered most. Let's break it down. I mean, Tafik Bayard was probably the lone bright spot for this Colorado team, getting guys in the right position. So for my choice, I got to go with him. He delivered in a big way. Was tackling right, was getting guys lined up. I think he should be the starter over Carter Startmeyer. And just like Tafik Bayard delivered for the Buffs, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season, and you can save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keeping the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. Promo period through November 18th. Welcome back to Locked on Buffs. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. So make sure to like, subscribe, follow. Become a Locked on Buffs insider. Myself and former Colorado Buffalo player Jordan Dominic, we do film breakdowns. We do exclusive content as well, where you can text us one-on-one. If you want to talk about a certain player or a certain play, certain look, certain coach, whatever, we do that. It's private. It's cool. It's fun. You guys should really sign up. It's really cool. Let's talk defensively. Colorado's defense is terrible. They can't tackle. The guys who I thought would be dogs are not. It's just, I mean, let's just run through it. Let's do it. I talked about it earlier. They made Connor Wegman look like Haynes King or Johnny Manziel. They made 15 of 24 yards for 200, or 15 and 24 passes for 222 yards. He rushed for 83 yards, right? Just a long of 49. The defensive line and the linebackers, not great. I felt like the corners weren't at the right. There was one play, and it was a 3rd and 1 or 4th and 1, and I could just see Preston Hodge. It looked like he had outside leverage. I could be wrong. And I was like, oh, they're probably going to go to slant there, a little crossing route. Guess what they did, right? This team can't tackle. They're just not physical enough. And I said they weren't physical enough after the Delaware game. I did say that, actually. But after the Georgia Tech game. And people were like, you know what? You don't know what you're talking about. They're plenty physical. And I was like, oh, really? It's like anytime a quarterback runs for 157 yards, I'm kind of skeptical. But this Colorado defense, they can't tackle. And I think they're greatly missing. And this is underrated because a lot of people talk about Travis Hunter leaving, Cameron Simmons-Craig, Shiloh Sanders. You know how bad they miss Nikhai Hill-Green and Levante Bentley? It's bad, right? This front seven, they're not getting to the quarterback. They had a lot of opportunities. They can't wrap up. This defense is just not where it needs to be, and it's not going to get easier, right? I made a joke online, and I was like, good thing Colorado doesn't play any more teams who could run the ball and have mobile quarterbacks. Oh, wait, they have BYU with Bear Bachmar and LJ Martin. Oh, wait, they have Josh Hoover and TCU's offense. Oh, wait, Iowa State has Rocco Becht and whoever they have a running back that's probably really good. Oh, wait, Utah has Devin Dampier, who's probably the most electric quarterback in the country. And they also have Wayshawn Parker, who's the number one transfer portal running back. Oh, wait, they have Arizona State, Sam Levitt, and Raleek Brown and Kanye Udu. Kansas State's terrible, but they have Avery Johnson and Dylan Edwards. Like, Colorado has so many more teams with better running quarterbacks, more physical run games, and they're getting pushed around by Houston. They're getting pushed around by Delaware. Oh, this is going to be a long year if they don't figure it out, right? You got to tackle. You have to be able to close rush lanes, right? You can't do it, right? This Colorado defense, if they continue to perform at this level, this Colorado team may win 1 or 2 more games, right? There's a lot of people to point the finger at. I think most importantly, you got to point the finger at the coaches, but it's just been bad. And I have faith that this Colorado team could turn it around. I do think they're talented, but oof, it's bad. So I appreciate you guys for tuning in, making me your first listen of the day. We're free and available where I get your podcast. Make sure, as I get the hiccups, to like, subscribe, follow. Become a Locked On Buffs insider. It's really cool. It's really fun. I promise you. And I will see you guys on Monday.